Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Stay. This is Coloring Bliss. I have little Rose asleep back there, and I have Steve, my business partner and husband, with me.
Hi everybody.
And we are here to talk about a new Karin product. I'm so excited. I reached out to Karin because I heard about this new product and I asked them if there was any way I could get it so that I could review it for you and let you know whether you should purchase it or not. And they were so generous to send me a full set of their new products, and wow, they are amazing. And I have lots of questions that we're going to answer together today. We're going to really dive deep into the new Karin Realbrush Markers. Now, the first thing I want to say is that they haven't changed the number of colors that they are offering. So let's look at some swatches. There are two kinds of inks that are in the Karin marker world. The first off is the Pigment line. There's 84 beautiful colors in the Pigment line, and they are made up of an acrylic ink. So pretty. And the very last card I'm showing you, that is the 12 metallics, and aren't they shiny and beautiful? Now in the Pro line we get 72 colors, and the Pro line also has a blender pen that you can purchase that is just clear, but these are a water-based ink, and oh, they are so vibrant and lovely. Alright, so the second thing that we need to talk about, other than the colors that are included in these sets, is the new nib. So let's talk about the original nib first, and that's this one right here. It's a Japanese nylon, durable, flexible tip. And I love this tip. I originally purchased a package with my own money of these markers and loved them so much that I reached out to Karin. That's how our relationship with Karin began, is my love for this Japanese nylon tip. And it's still going to be available because it's still an impressive and amazing tool. Now this is the new tip right here, and it's an actual real brush. It's a 4mm paintbrush style with bristles, so you get a different effect, and I'm going to show you some of those different effects here in just a minute. But there's a side-by-side of the two nibs available at Karin. Alright, Steve, we have two boxes here in front of me, and these are the Pro lines. So I have the original Brushmarker Pros, that's the Japanese nib, and wow, does Karin do packaging beautifully or what? It comes in this beautiful box. And this is called their Mega Box, and it has 72 colors in it. Look how beautiful. And then you also get a bonus 3 pens right here. These are the blender pens that are just clear. That's unique to the Pro line. Remember, Pro line is water-based, so you get a clear to help you with your blending. So that is so thoughtful. This giant box right here costs $169.99 on their website. Awesome set. Look at the neons. You get grays. You've already seen the swatches. These are beautiful. Now let's look at the new box and see how it compares. So this is the new Real Brush. So we have the bristly brush here, and we have the Japanese brush here.
Okay.
Now in the Real Brush, it's the same type box, but look at how they have changed. Let's look at how the bodies of the pens have changed. It's the same lineup, 72 colors plus 3 colorless blenders, the beautiful neons. So we've got
the colors the same?
Yeah, same lineup of inks, but we get a different body. So if you were to take all these pens out and put them in one cup and have them where you could reach for them at any point, you could tell whether you have a Japanese nib or the new bristly nib. So let me show you how you can see that. Let's pick this pink right here. This is the new, it says Real Brush Pro on it, but the difference is it has a white cap. And here is the same one from the old lineup. I keep saying old, that's not a good word because it's not old and new. Well, it's new, but they're both really good and they both perform slightly differently. Well, not slightly, they perform quite differently, and so it's, you know, we're going to talk about in a few minutes which one I prefer.
Okay, so they're both current.
They're both current and they're both amazing.
It just depends on what you're doing and what type of nib that you
Exactly.
want.
So let's take a peek again. Remember, the one with the solid pink cap is the previous style, or the current Japanese style. And then we have the new Realbrush nib here on this one. Awesome. The caps work so good. When you first get them, guys, you got to know that the caps are on super tight and you're going to have to work for it to get the caps off. But after that initial take off, then they just sit on there perfectly and they do exactly what you want them to do. So don't be scared if you purchase it and you're wrestling with those caps the first time through. So that's how the Pro Marker line, the water-based pens, have changed so that they reflect the new nib. Let's look at the Pigment line now.
Okay, really quick though. I have to ask.
Okay.
So are these in competition to like Tombow?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you love Tombos, you're probably going to love these. They're water-based. They work really good on specific paper. We're going to talk about paper here in a minute. They are really vivid colors, beautiful pens. Okay, let's talk about the Pigment line now. All right, this stack right here in this this has got an outer box and then they have individual slide out boxes. This is my original set of Pigment markers. So these are the acrylic. They called them Decobrush. They still call them that. Steve says we shouldn't call them old, we should call them original, which I like that. So the Japanese nibs are the originals. And you get basic colors, violet, blue colors. I've already shown you all the swatches for all the colors, but they break them into these beautiful sets. You can buy one set at a time, or you can buy the massive tall set here. The full thing is $329 and comes with 84 colors. And you have all their beautiful pens here in the Decobrush, which is the acrylic paint version, except for the metallics. Now the metallics used to come in this tin. I'm not sure if the original Japanese nibs still come in a tin or if they have the new box. Will you grab the new box? This is what the new box of metallics with the Realbrush looks like. So I really like that they're going with the same packaging and makes storage a little easier for me. I don't know quite where to store this one because it doesn't fit and sit with everything correctly. So I like that they've changed to this type of packaging. So let me show you now the new ones. Oh, I could show you real quick. Here, will you hand me the top box on the stack? Now the pens they sent me, the new Realbrush pens, don't come in a tower like this. They're all separate. But I don't know what they're going to be offering once they release these in the US. And that brings me to one of the things that we need to talk about. As of the time of filming this video, these Realbrush pens aren't available yet in the US. So anything with the new nylon bristly brush, you're going to have to get onto their website and watch for the release. Very exciting. So this is what the original box looks like this, and then the new box looks like this. But they're the same type of layout. They have a really nice magnet closure. Again, they just know how to do packaging. It opens up and has a place where you can swatch right here so you can refer to what's in there. And then it has every pen in its own little slot. It tells you very specifically how to store them to keep the life of your acrylic pen as long as possible. So they've really gone the extra mile with their packaging because their pens are beautiful. They need a beautiful package, right? So let's look at the difference between the new Realbrush and the original Japanese style brush and how these pens look different. All right, let's switch them this way and do the original on the left, the Pigment original, and the Pigment new Realbrush on the right. You can see how the boxes look really similar. They have swatches on the front to help you find the right box, and then they open up and have the swatches on the top where I did that. It looks like I haven't done that yet over here. And they also gave us in the original set these stickers so that I could rearrange all of them if I wanted to. So I haven't done that. I like keeping them in the sets that they originally came in. So can you spot the difference on the bodies already? Let's look at turquoise. Turquoise is a fun color. Yeah, that's turquoise, and this one is turquoise. Now remember, one of the differences between these pens and the Pro pens. Pro pens are water-based, Pigment are acrylic. The acrylic pens you have to shake. So the Pro pens are water-based. They don't need shaking, and they have a really cool way to feed the liquid to the nibs. They're amazing. But these guys, you do have to shake when you first get them. So you can see the difference in the bodies. This one says Pigment Decobrush for the original. And there's your Japanese nib on the original. And then on the other one, we have, says Pigment Realbrush with the brush-like experience. And there's the nib for the new one. Such a nice pen. These are so comfortable in the hand. I love, again, if you had them all mixed together, you would know which one you have, whether you have the Japanese style or the real brush style, you would know because they did a different cap to not just a different label, but a different cap, so you can find them quickly and know what's in your hand. Very thoughtful. I think the design is beautiful. So Steve just asked an interesting question.
I was just curious who these are competing with. So
the pigment pens.
Yeah, the pigment pens.
So the Pro pens are your water-based, kind of competing with Tombow. The pigment ones are acrylic-based, so in my mind they're kind of competing with Posca. But I'm really not a fan of Posca, so we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about Posca today. We're going to talk a little bit more about it, Posca, and why I don't like Posca pens in the next video that's coming out. I think we're going to do it on Saturday. So make sure you subscribe and you hit the like button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next video, because I have a secret weapon for you. If you like acrylic pens, you're going to love this video that's coming. So
you did a lot of work on that.
Yeah, I did. I'm so excited. And a sneak peek, it has to do with that picture on the back wall, which I painted with the new Realbrush pigment pens. Isn't it beautiful? Pretty. I love it so much. It just feels like spring on a piece of paper. Okay, let's talk now about 4 questions that these pens made me ask. When I got them, I was immediately wanted to answer these 4 questions. So let's start with question number 1. All right, the very first question I had about these new bristly brush tips is, how do they perform in calligraphy and lettering? Now, the original Karin markers are huge in the calligraphy world. When you go watch a calligraphy type video, quite often they have a Karin pen in their hand. And so I wanted to go in and see how the Realbrush works. So I'm going to roll some footage here of me doing these pages and giving you a few insights as I practiced with calligraphy. Please keep in mind, I am not a calligraphy artist, but I'm going to do my best for you. All right, for this test, I want to compare the 2 different tips. So we have the Realbrush that we can compare over here, and then we have the Decobrush and the Brushmarker that we can compare over here. I just went on to my Procreate app and printed out this text in a very light color so that I can just draw right on top of it, because I am not super great at lettering, but I am really good at copying lettering, so that's why we're going to do it this way. Let's start with the original Japanese nylon nib, the Decobrush and the Brushmarker. For that, I've got the original here in red magenta for the Brushmarker, and I've got the original right here turquoise for the Decobrush. Okay, let's see how they perform. All right, now I grabbed the same 2 colors, turquoise and magenta, and now we're going to do it with the new Realbrush pens. Let's see how these do on this lettering. right, you can see both of them here in front of me, the Decobrush and the Realbrush, the Brushmarker and the Realbrush Pros. And I think they both look great. I think my Realbrush strokes are a little more wobbly, but I have to say, I think it was a little easier. But they are wobblier, so a little harder to control. Let's do one more. I have also printed off the words Coloring Bliss in a lot bigger of a font because I want to see how they will do on a nice big font. So let's test them now using some beautiful purple colors. Okay, let's go over the experience. First of all, I love how the new Realbrush pens don't squeak. When I'm using these ones, the old Japanese nylon nib, as you push down on the downstrokes, you get a real squeaky sound. Let me demonstrate for you. Squeaky sound. On the upstrokes, it's quiet, but on the downstrokes, squeaky. Where with the brush type tips, it's quiet. Both directions. So I really like the quiet. I know some people really don't like a squeaky marker, so if you're after a quiet marker, then the new Realbrush pens are really for you. As far as controlling the nibs, and so on this side here we have the two pros, the water-based markers. This is the original Japanese nib, and this is the new Realbrush nib here. You get a much more painterly effect, as you can see, when you're doing the different strokes with the Realbrush. So if you like that effect, then this is what you're going to want. If you're looking for a much more crisp, clean line and more solid, I think that the old Japanese nibs might be what you want. I think overall, I like the feel of the new Realbrush when I'm doing calligraphy better. It feels a little more painterly. It feels a little more fun. And I like how I can control the width of the different strokes really easily, get a really nice, tiny little upstroke. As you can see here, I can get a really nice upstroke that's really thin, or I can get a really nice wide. If I go slow, you get a solid, nice wide. If you go faster, it's usually more painterly. That one wasn't. Let's see. Yeah, see, you get a much more painterly type stroke when you go a little bit faster. So there's a lot to learn and explore with lettering. This is not my forte, like I said. Lettering isn't my thing. I'm going to put a link to a YouTube channel that I love. I think it's called Ensign Insights. Her lettering is beautiful, and I believe she's going to be doing a review of these pens here soon. So if you're really into lettering and you want to know more about these new markers, wait for her video and see what she has to say about them. I'm really interested to see what her experience is. All right, now that we've answered the calligraphy question, let's go to question number 2. And what I want to answer is, what kind of strokes can we create using the new tip? And can we do the same strokes with the old Japanese, the original Japanese nib? Let's take a look here. I've got my paper here, just some standard, nothing special cardstock. And then I've got the new Realbrush Pro pens in 2 colors. And I've got the same 2 colors in the original Japanese nib. Again, remember the new one has the white cap with the color on the little clip. So let's start with blue in the Japanese nib, and I want to show you how you can create leaves. So the way I like to do it, let's go to this view too so you can see how flexible the nib is. So if we just kind of create a little stem, and we're going to create a leaf. So you do light pressure to heavy pressure to light pressure. And you do it sort of in a U shape, a stretched out U shape. And that's how you get a beautiful leaf. And you really want to get it in the right angle for your hand so that when you do the down stroke, you can get it nice and thick. So cute. You can also come back and add a little extra details if you want, or you can just leave it the way it is. So that was with the Japanese nib. I'm going to put original for those ones. And then let's grab the Japanese nib, and you can see how differently it works. I mean, these work so differently, you guys. Okay, so again, you're going to do light pressure to heavy pressure, light pressure to heavy pressure. I want you to notice, just as in the calligraphy, there's no squeak with these guys. And the down pressure is easier. It's just more flexible because it's bristles, not a nib that you're pushing into. And then ever so often you get the little stray bristle that leaves a little extra line that looks so watercolor painterly beautiful. I love it. Okay. Especially when you go a little faster, you get those little really pretty little stray pieces of ink that comes out. So pretty. So I'll put here brush. Okay, so that's one thing we can still do with both. This is what you're going to find, is we can do pretty much everything we want to with both, but some are a little easier. Let's try doing some flicks. Oh, this is the original. Let's grab this one here. This is the Japanese nib. So if I do quick flicks, let's say you're doing grass, hair, fur. There's lots of reasons why you would want to do that kind of stroke. Now when we do it with the new bristly nib, you get a different feel, and again, from time to time you get that extra line that comes from the bristles. And it's just a quieter. These are just more flexible, which is in some ways good, and in other ways it's a little harder to control. Okay, let's do another kind of leaf. I'm going to go back to the pros, the originals here, and let's make another stem, because another leaf you can do is really simple. You go light, and then heavy, and then light, and that's it. Light, heavy, light. Light, heavy, light. Okay, let's do it with the bristles now, the brush tip. Light, heavy, look how much wider it goes. Light, heavy, light. Ooh, I'm sorry, but I just really like these bristles. Oh, see, and then ever so often you get that beautiful brush stroke. I want to practice more. There, I got it again. I want to get more of that. Yeah, see? Oh, so pretty. Okay, so down here, this is the brush. They don't like doing small letters like that. The brush tip, it's just a little too flexible. Look how easy it is for me to write the word brush with the Japanese nib. So again, what are you wanting to use these pens for? That's kind of what you need to ask yourself.
And did you mean to write original up there?
Oh, I did. Sorry, I was so into writing the word brush. Original. So easy to write tiny little letters compared to the brush tip. Okay, so let's do a few others. You can do like little seed circles. This is the Japanese nib. Around. Maybe you're adding little details to your leaves that you've colored and drawn. And then here we go in with the brush nib. Again, it's really up to you what style you want to go for here. More grass. Let's do more grass. This is with the brush tip. I want to do like really light, fluffy grass. And then let's do the Japanese nib and see if I can get the same. Not quite the same, but it still looks good. Okay, so that kind of answers my questions. Oh, there's so many other things we could do. Let's try the new brush nib and do a little flower. Here's a stem. We do the circle in the center, and then 2 little petals. Whoops. Oh, that was an interesting petal. That's okay, we'll cover it with the next petal, right? Cute. And then you can add, this is all with the brush. Look at that leaf.
Oh, that's really
easy. Easy, easy. So fun. Okay. But yeah, I think if you're trying to do tiny little letters, the Japanese nib wins easy. But we've already talked about calligraphy. We're here for brush strokes. So here's just a few different brush strokes that you can look at and see how beautiful these both nibs will perform for you. Okay, this question is number 3, and the question has to do with paper. And I always want to figure out what is the best paper to pair with the different art tools that I'm using. So this doesn't necessarily have to do with the preference of the tip. This has more to do with, should I use the pigment ones on a certain kind of paper, and should I use the pro or the water-based ones on a certain kind of paper. Plus I wanted to see how the inks looked on the different papers. So I made up some charts here, and we'll go through these really quick. On the left is the Realbrush Pro. So this is the water-based on the left, and on the right are the pigment pens. And I tried to pick similar colors going down, and that brings me to probably a question you've had. For instance, are the number systems the same between the Pro line, the water-based, and the pigment line, the acrylic? The numbers aren't the same, but some of the colors are. So these are both canary, but this one was number 102, and this one is number 166. So it's not exactly the same.
I wondered that.
From acrylic based to water based. So there's another bonus question answer for you. Okay, so what I did was I did a light upstroke and then a heavy downstroke for each of these different swatches using the new bristly nibs. And then at the bottom, well, on this side right here, I tried to activate the water-based ink with water to see if it would flow again. And you can see on this marker paper, it did nothing when I hit it with water. It just sort of washed out the color, made it look a little washed out. And then at the bottom, I tried doing a blend between the canary and the red to see if I could create an orange, if that was possible. You can see I got a bit of an orange here, but I didn't use any help on this. It was just 2 pens trying to blend together on this paper. Now over here on the pigment side, I also added some lines on top because these can't activate with water, but they are opaque. Now some of them are more opaque than others, so if you are depending on that yellow to be super opaque and I'll be able to put a big yellow sunshine right over a black, that's not going to happen. The yellow is not super opaque. So you can see when you look right here, for instance, the yellow going over the orange, it didn't make that much of a change to it. Sometimes you can see the yellow doing better than other places. But for instance, the blue is very opaque and covers everything it goes over, even that black line at the very bottom, that blue can beat out that black.
Wow.
So some of them are super opaque. And then at the bottom I did the same thing I did over here, only with the pigment pens, and tried to create an orange and a beautiful blend. And you can see how much better that blend worked using the acrylic versus the water-based on marker paper. So what I learned, marker paper is not great for the water-based markers. Okay, then we go to the tan, and you can see all the colors show up on tan, and they activated with water. I got a nice blend on both. So tan paper, both lines will work on tan paper, which is great. Now this is where the this is watercolor paper here, and you can see that we got, look at that blend. So a water-based product, whether it's Tombow markers or Crayola markers or these beautiful Realbrush Pros, they just love a watercolor paper. So all of them want to be on watercolor paper. You can reactivate them. I tried some layering on top to see how opaque different inks were, so you can look at that. And then, of course, a beautiful blend effortlessly happened down at the bottom. But look, our acrylic pens also work on watercolor paper, and you get a nice blend here too. So they work great on watercolor paper. This one, neither side likes colored pencil paper, and that's because colored pencil paper has a bit of texture and it's very almost spongy. It really soaks up anything wet and it doesn't want it to move and perform well. So where color pencil paper is my absolute favorite for my Prismacolors and polychromos, not so much for wet-based medium. So I kind of knew that was going to happen, but I wanted to prove it to myself. So here's our mixed media paper. Kind of mixed results. I accidentally splattered some ink down here. That's what's going on here. Not a great blend. Things didn't activate super great, but we did get a good blend here with the acrylic pigment pens. So, you know, it worked so-so, which is about what we would expect. Now, on the black paper, you can see that the Realbrush Pros, the water-based pens, do not perform on black, which is no surprise. We knew that was going to happen because they are much more translucent in nature, where the acrylic ones are pigment-based. Pigment is like a solid color rather than a dye, so it can fight a deep dark background. So if you're wanting to do lettering and things on black paper or color a black coloring page, you want to reach for the pigment pens, the acrylic based. But here again you can see how some of them are really good and opaque and really fight that black paper, where others are a little more translucent, might require a couple different layers to really get a good color payoff. And again, look at that beautiful blend we got at the bottom. So this test here proved that the water-based pens want to be on watercolor and that the acrylic can pretty much go on anything. But I had some trouble with those blends, and it left me questioning how to work with acrylic pens better. So that's where the next video is going to come in. I have a really cool secret weapon to share with you to make acrylic pens work astoundingly well. So make sure you watch out for our next video because you're going to want to know how to get the best out of your acrylic pens. All right, question number 4 is the big one. Which type of nib do I recommend? And do I think if you own the Japanese style full sets, do you need to come out and buy the new Realbrush ones? That's the big question.
It's an expensive question.
Very expensive. And I'm not lying. Karin is an expensive tool, but it's a high quality tool that works well. So if you do invest in it, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Everyone I know who buys Karin products really loves the Karin products. So I have in my hand the new, right here, the bristly brush type nibs, and here the Japanese nibs. These are the pro or water-based markers. Which ones do I recommend? Which nib? If I were to buy a set today after having tested them, I would buy the brush style nib, not the original Japanese. I find it more... I like the little bristle effects. I like how when I lean into the nib, it doesn't squeak and it creates that nice thick stroke that I'm looking for. I like that when I color with them, I can get into teeny tiny details or I can do big areas. I really like them.
Sounds versatile and expressive.
Yeah. Oh, and expressive. That's a good word for it. So if you own the Japanese style, do you need to come out and buy these? No, there's no new colors. These, like you saw when I was testing the brush strokes, you can get almost every effect that I was doing here with these ones. They're just a little stiffer of a nib, which is great because if it's too flexible of a Japanese style nib, sometimes they wear out faster. So I'm not against these, and I'm sure I'll still reach for these. But if I had a choice and they were both sitting in my hands, I'd reach for the brush style.
And would you reach for the acrylic or the water-based?
So if you had asked me that question before I colored that page back there and figured out our new secret weapon with acrylic paints, I would have said the water-based every time. And I would pair it with watercolor paper and just go to town and have a wonderful blending time. But now that I have really put some time and effort into acrylic paints and figured out how to color with them and get the effects I want, I don't know. I think I would reach for the acrylics first now. They're so versatile. You can use them on any type of paper. Can
they go on
amazing.
any surface as well? So
you
like
can
wood
put them on wood,
plastic,
glass, rock, all of it.
Wow.
So they're very versatile. And there's beautiful colors, 84 beautiful colors. I mean, yeah.
I will say that, yeah, that painting you did back there is just so pretty. Like in person, it's just...
I can't wait to share with all of you that painting. And like I said, that's in the next video. This one's already long enough. I didn't want to fill it up with even more things that I've learned. But that video is going to be really good. So I'm excited for you to see what I've learned and how I'm kind of becoming an acrylic girl.
Really?
Yeah, like I want, now that I'm like have some free time now that this video is done, I think I would sit down with my acrylic pens next and play with them. So I'm really excited. I want to say thank you to Karin one more time. We're going to put a link to their website in the video description so you can go and see if the new Realbrush pens are available. If not, just make sure you check back frequently so that you can get them when they come out. I have a feeling they're going to sell fast because they are really good. I really enjoyed them. So thank you, Karin, for making high quality products that I can recommend and feel really good about recommending. I wish they weren't as expensive as they are, but it is what it is. And I like supporting that company because they do make such a good product. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot and that you're excited about these new products. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye, everyone. I was just about to talk, and Rose is doing her thing.
Well, that's very important stuff she's got to do back there.
Yeah, you gotta get that pillow just right. We discovered she doesn't like the other side. The other side of the pillow has all this like fake fur, and she hates it. It's this side with the more velvety texture that she prefers.
Yeah. Is that true, Rose? She goes again.
Yeah.
She's coming up front.
Well, is she done? Circle, circle, plop.
Sigh.
Okay, now back to question number 4.